Hello, I'm Dominic Walker, JMW's Inside Man. My guest is Nadia Kerr. Nadia is a partner at JMW and head of the cycling litigation department, which is called Twisted Spokes. Now, Nadia, in the new year, I understand that there's going to be a change to the highway code to protect vulnerable road users. There'll be a hierarchy and also to do with cyclists as well. So I can't think of anybody better than you to explain this, Nadia. So what are the changes?
Okay, well, there are three main changes that affect road users. One you've already touched on. It introduces the hierarchy of road users, so that's something we haven't seen before. It introduces a hierarchy of responsibility as well. So the thinking behind that is that those road users who are capable of doing the greatest harm should bear the greatest responsibility when they're on the road. So we're thinking about HGV drivers, cars, taxis, motorcyclists even, that can cause a lot of damage to a cyclist or a pedestrian. And I don't want to just overlook here that there's a requirement on cyclists to protect more vulnerable road users too, and that's pedestrians. So all designed really to protect vulnerable road users. So very pleased to see this hierarchy of responsibility. That's the first change. The second change is a priority for pedestrians at junctions. So what this refers to is that where pedestrians are already crossing a road or where they are waiting to cross a road, if a vehicle's turning into a side road, for example, the vehicle should give way to that pedestrian and allow them to start to cross, and to finish crossing the road, they have to give way to pedestrians. So that's a change. And also at zebra crossings as well, if there's a pedestrian waiting to cross, you should now stop. The third one, which is of particular interest to cyclists, and it's where a lot of our work comes from, is that vehicles, car drivers, van drivers, etc., need to give way to cyclists if the vehicle is turning. So that's a left turn or a right turn. If you imagine a situation where, for example, you're driving along a road and there's a cyclist on your left-hand side in a cycle lane, if that cyclist is going straight on and you want to turn left, you have to wait for them to pass. You have to wait for a gap in the traffic, wait for the cyclist to be beyond you, and then turn safely. So that's a really important change to protect cyclists who are vulnerable road users. There are another couple of things that I just wanted to mention as well, which is about cyclists having an ability to ride in the centre of the lane, which I'm sure many car drivers will just shake their heads about, and why ever would a cyclist put themselves in that position only to hold us up on our very important journey to wherever we are trying to get to. But the point here is that there are certain circumstances where a cyclist is much more visible in that position, in a much more dominant, assertive position in the road, so that they can be seen. And it really is, all of this is about trying to protect those who are more vulnerable. And one other point I'll just mention quickly is when passing a cyclist, there's a distance now introduced. 1.5 metre distance is needed for cars passing cyclists if they're travelling below 30 miles an hour. And if faster than that, it's a 2 metre gap that you need to leave. So just be careful with that. We all, of course, know all too well what a 2 metre gap now looks like. But those are the really important changes and due to come in on the 29th of January next year.
So I was going to say, when does it all come in? But you've kind of touched on that. So the 29th of January is the date when that all comes in. Is there a risk for vulnerable road users during the implementation of this, Nadia?
Well, I think there's a real issue about the communication of these messages. They're really important messages. And if we think about the majority of road users and when they last opened an edition of the Highway Code, for many, it's decades ago. You know, you pass your driving test and you close the book and store it, and that's the end of that. More vulnerable road users, I believe, will be more likely to be aware of the changes than the majority of road users who are just using motorised vehicles. And that's the difficulty, because that puts vulnerable road users in conflict with motorised vehicle users who don't know about the changes. So the whole communication message here is a real concern. We are about, 5 weeks to go now, and a poll that the AA conducted revealed that 2/3 of road users don't know about the changes at all. 20% of them thought that it was fake news. So there's a lot of work to do there, and these changes will only work if everybody knows what the rules of the road are.
Nadia, thank you very much for your time, and I know that vulnerable road users can always contact you to get some help as well, and some advice by emailing insideman@jmw.co.uk or call 0161 82 81 999. I'm Dominic Walker, JMW's Inside Man.